Class 8th. Geography. Resources. A tick. The correct answers. 1. Which of the following makes a substance a resource? A. Utility. B. Value addition. C. Technology. D. all of them. 2. Solid is an example of dash resource. A. Actual. B. Biotic. C. Natural. D. Human-made. 3. Which of the following is a biotic resource? A. Minerals. B. Sunlight. C. Grasses. D. Land. 4. What type of resource is present in a waterfall? A. Potential. B. Ubiquitous. C. Actual. D. Biotic. 5. Which of the following is an actual resource? A. Weather. B. Intelligence. C. Environment. D. Windmill. 6. Sunlight is an example of which of these resources? A. Biotic. B. Localized. C. Exhaustible. D. Ubiquitous. 7. Which of the following is a human-made resources? A. Technology. B. River delta. C. Spring water. D. Mineral oil. 8. Which of the following is the most important resource on Earth? A. Trees. B. Human beings. C. Crops. D. Coal. B. Fill in the blanks. 1. The force of falling water is used to generate hydroelectricity. Electricity. 2. Land, water and soil are natural resources. 3. The non-renewable resources are also called exhaustible resources. 4. Human beings use knowledge and skills to develop resources. C. Distinguish between the following. 1. Natural and human-made resources. Natural resources. Human-made resources. I. Resources which are provided to us by nature are natural resources. I. Resources which are converted into useful products are known as human-made resources. 2. Land, air, water, soils, minerals are examples of natural resources. 2. Buildings, roads, machinery and vehicles are examples of human-made resources. 2. Biotic and abiotic resources. Biotic resources. Abiotic resources. I. Resources that we get from living things such as plants and animals are biotic resources. I. Resources that we get from physical or non-living environment are abiotic resources. 2. They have the capacity to reproduce under favorable environmental conditions. 2. They do not have the capacity to reproduce as their process of formation is very slow. 3. Forest, agricultural crops, grasses, wild and domestic animals, birds, fishes and reptiles are examples of biotic resources. 3. Land, water, air, minerals and power resources are examples of abiotic resources. 3. Potential and developed resources. Potential resources. Developed resources. I. Resources whose availability in terms of its total quantity is not known at present are potential resources. I. Resources whose total available quantity and quality are at present known are developed resources. 2. These resources need detailed survey for the estimation of their quantity and quality. 2. surveys have already been conducted to find out their total available reserve. 4. Ubiquitous and localized resources. Ubiquitous resources. Localized resources. I. Ubiquitous resources are those resources that are found everywhere. I. Localized resources are those resources that are found at certain places. 2. Air and sunlight are examples of ubiquitous resources. 2. Gold and silver are examples of localized resources. D. Give short answers for the following questions. 1. How is resource different from gifts of nature? I. The things that are provided to humans by nature in the form of rocks, soils, minerals, natural vegetation and animals are called gifts of nature. 2. They help humans to fulfill their daily needs. 3. On the other hand, the gifts of nature which have utility and help human beings to satisfy their needs are called resources. 4. Usually the gifts of nature are converted into resources by value addition. This is possible by processing the gifts of nature into finished products with the help of suitable technology. 2. What are the factors that determine the utility of any natural resource? I. The utility of any natural resource is determined by the following factors. The form in which it occurs. The place where it occurs. The efforts needed to process it. The cost of processing it. 3. Human beings are an important resource. Justify this statement. I. Human beings are an important resource because they are capable of making the best use of natural resources through their knowledge, skills, and technology. 2. They use their knowledge and skills to develop technology in order to discover, exploit, develop, and convert the available or potential resources into useful products or wealth. 4. Define conservation of resources and sustainable development. Conservation of resources, careful utilization of natural resources without their wastage is called conservation of resources. Sustainable development, the proper use of natural resources to meet the present need and also to conserve them for the future generations is known as sustainable development. Give long answers for the following questions. 1. With the help of examples, explain how the gifts of nature can become resources with the passage of time. I. With the passage of time, humans developed various techniques to convert the gifts of nature into useful articles to satisfy their needs. 2. For example, waterfall is a gift of nature. 3. It has force, which can be used to drive a water wheel. 3. When humans developed a technique to harness this force of falling water to generate hydroelectricity, the waterfall became a valuable resource. 4. Similarly, the mineral deposits in USA were mere gifts of nature. They were not valuable to the natives, as they did not know their use. 6. However, when the Europeans migrated to USA, they explored and developed these mineral deposits and they became valuable resources. 7. This is how gifts of nature become valuable with the passage of time. To classify resources with example. The resources are classified into three types: natural, human-made and human resources. Other natural resources include natural endowments such as land, air, water, soil, minerals, natural vegetation and fossil fuels. Natural resources can be further classified on the basis of origin, development, renewability and distribution. Times on the basis of origin. Resources are of two types: biotic and abiotic resources. Biotic resources include resources available from living things such as plants and animals like forests, agricultural crops, and wild and domestic animals. 2. Abiotic resources include resources which are available from physical or non-living environment such as land, water, air, minerals and power resources. On the basis of development, resources are of two types, namely potential and actual or developed resources. Potential resources include those resources which are not developed at present but has the potential for future development. The potential for the generation of hydroelectricity in Africa in the future is an example of such resource. 2. Actual or developed resources include those resources which are developed from potential resources. For example, windmills developed to harness the wind energy. Times on the basis of renewability. Resources are of two types, namely renewable and non-renewable resources. Renewable resources include plants, animals and water which can be renewed by physical, mechanical or chemical processes. 2. Non-renewable resources include those resources which once exhausted cannot be replaced, such as minerals and fossil fuels. Times on the basis of distribution. Natural resources are classified into ubiquitous and localized resources. Ubiquitous resources are those resources which are found everywhere, such as air and sunlight. 2. Localized resources are found at certain places and include gold and silver. The human-made resources are made by human beings and include buildings, roads, machinery and vehicles. The human resources include human beings. 3. Distinguish between renewable and non-renewable resources. Renewable resources. Non-renewable resources. Renewable resources can be renewed by reproduction and by physical, mechanical or chemical processes. Non-renewable resources are available in fixed quantity and cannot be renewed. 2. Renewable resources are also called inexhaustible resources. 2. Non-renewable resources are also called exhaustible resources. 3. Their quantity is not affected by human activities. 3. Their quantity is affected by human activities. 4. Solar and wind energy are examples of renewable resources. 4. Minerals and fossil fuels are examples of non-renewable resources. 4. Why is the conservation of resources essential? Our future as well as the future of our planet is dependent upon our ability to maintain and preserve the life support system which nature has provided. 2. Therefore, It is essential to conserve resources so that the resources are either not exhausted or their quality deteriorated in the near future due to their irrational and overutilization by different human activities. 3. The conservation of resources also aim to maintain a balance between population growth and utilization of resources. HOTS. 5. Can a gift of nature become a resource in the future? How? I. A gift of nature can become a resource in the future if human needs force the human beings to develop a suitable technology to convert the gift of nature into useful resources. 6. Why do you think the use of resources should be sustainable? I. The use of resources should be sustainable so that the resources do not get exhausted in the near future, and that the future generations can also use them to meet their needs.